The movie Fight Club is a Hollywood demonstration of the quote by Jeremiah Abrams: "The road to joy passes through the gates of hell." My name is Jacob Muir, and I am here to explain the cultural relevance and relatability the movie Fight Club has towards developing the male psyche. I believe people find themselves frustrated at the banality of their lives and the limiting of their potential. They unconsciously yearn to express aspects of themselves that have, out of fear, long been repressed. I can remember times when I have limited myself, and then later thought, what was it all for? I believe the movie Fight Club is a fitting example of material rhetoric because it appropriately fulfills its intended rhetorical purpose. I will discuss the historical context of Fight Club, as well as its creation, the purpose of its creation, the principles behind its persuasion, and the consequences from its viewing. Fight Club was created to portray the narrator's journey through intense insomnia and depression, which relates to others and society as a whole. As told by J.C. Olson in his Is Tyler Durden Insane?, Fight Club touches on numerous provocative themes: addiction to self help groups, the economics of deciding whether the risk of lawsuit warrants a corporate recall for a defective product, various forms of cultural jamming as an expression of resistance to the dominant consumer culture, and consensual fighting as a legitimate form of expression and self discovery. The narrator is a man struggling through life and is afraid to unfold emotions he has long kept secret for the sake of his white collar job and social status. His flaws and hypocrisy led him to formulate and befriend his polar opposite, his shadow. Brad Pitt, playing Tyler Durden, was a man of extreme cunning, strength, wisdom, will, and determination, who stood as testament for what all other men could do and become, only if and they had the courage, in Durden's words, to just run away with it and be who they are unapologetically. This theme for self-realization is inlaid within the whole movie and symbolically represents each man's fight to express and conquer all aspects of themselves, even the bad parts. This storyline mimics and offers a modern take on classical myth hero stories. In Carl Jung's Man His Symbols, he says, in many stories, the early weakness of the hero is balanced by an appearance of strong figures who enable him to perform superhuman tasks that he cannot accomplish unaided. Theseus had Poseidon, Achilles had Chiron, Perseus had Athena. These godlike figures are symbolic representations of the whole psyche. With the consensual violence as just one method of expression, each man needed a Tyler Durden to be their guide, to lead them to the gates of their own individuation. Fight Club successfully portrays that great power lies where we have long repressed aspects of our psyche. This is why Fight Clubs were started underground, to symbolically represent what we have placed out of view from ourselves in society, being deemed so undesirable that we push aspects of our lives into the underworld as not to be seen. This is true for all. All we must do to peer into this world is think of what we think of ourselves, and then think of that image's opposite. We realize this repressed side is where we must start to begin asking questions about what we view our self-esteem as in a conscious light, a side of us that we instead most often choose to take underground, a side of guilt, fears, denials that, if not acknowledged and taken responsibility for, could truly harm others and ourselves, even with pure intentions, can be unconsciously acted upon. A situation that, if we don't have it, it certainly has us. With that being said, the movie goes on to show people must scare themselves into changing their ways. Each character took a step underground and began their own hero's journey. Through their battering, each man left the Fight Club with an aura of bliss. However, this became another means of consumption and soon spiraled out of control, leading to mass chaos where many innocent people were injured. This is where the narrator decided to take a stand and sought to discover what Tyler Durden has been doing behind his back. Durden did not let go easily, however, and would have rather killed the narrator before losing control over their shared life. He chose a gentle threat. I told you not to talk about me, as his non-hostile form of telling the narrator not to discover this side of himself. He carried neglect for the attitude that had put him into the underworld, and grew to love chaos as opposed to peace. It was time to begin for the narrator to reintegrate his shadow, to take ownership over it. However, Tyler Durden had become a monster by the time the narrator chose to unravel his psyche. Narrowly tricking the narrator to kill himself, the narrator saved his own life when he realized that his shadow was no real danger toward him, and that is, after all, he held the weapon to his own demise. He diffused his shadow's dangerous impact on him and killed his shadow instead of himself. Now conscious of what his shadow was made of, a lover was introduced. This was a symbolic representation that he was now ready for constructive relationships with others because he was in a healthy relationship with himself. The acknowledgement of the aspects of ourselves in the collective unconscious are fearful of can create awareness to the injustices and inspire others to heal the injustices that have been done onto them. Fight Club opens the door towards a society that brings fight clubs from out of the darkness and into the light of conscious awareness. When things are not made available to us, they have much power over us. In a journal discussing the intentional blindness caused by neglect of current happenings, at the demand of less pressing matters, a police officer ran past a brutal assault and was charged with perjury when he claimed he had not seen it. We are all susceptible to what is unseen. However, are we truly at fault? This is the reason I feel the movie bridges the gaps towards accepting the repressed peoples and actions of society as well. Under similar circumstances, many people will act in similar ways. As presented by the book A 21st Century Ethical Toolbox, by thinking of individual virtues and then flipping the coin to look at their opposite vices, there is room to think of moderate ways to live a balanced inner life. This can be understood and furthered to look at subjects such as mental health, mass incarceration, and racial tensions, evils that may truly be roadblocks that we must overcome culturally to end their impacts over us. When we slay the dragons within ourselves, we begin slaying the dragons of society. Each person in our culture has a social responsibility to check their biases, beliefs, limitations, and slip-ups, and make an effort to heal ourselves for the betterment of the collective. We must all be willing to start our own fight clubs, where we most certainly will be battered. However, Carl Jung would say this experience of integrating one's shadow into conscious perception may dim the light of our consciousness, but truly is a win, as our consciousness grows much wider as a result. This is why I believe Fight Club is an effective material of rhetoric. It may simply be a movie, but it urges us to become more than we currently are. When a hero understands the limitations imposed on himself, then overcomes them, we are inspired to do the same and begin becoming heroes ourselves.